So yeah, we're gonna go over homework first, then we'll do notes. Also, while we're doing all of this, I'll try and point out some things that I think are gonna be important for your quiz. So keep that in mind as we start. But let me get your 2-2 homework out. Okay, perfect. Quiz will be on quarter 2. All of your assessments for quarter 1 are done. The only thing that can change your grade is Math League. So when is Math League?
Friday.
Tuesday.
What?
Max, are you listening? So you thought it was today and you just missed it?
No.
Okay. Today is October 14th. So a little bit of like behind the scenes is that in order for things to go on quarter 1, I have to make it by a certain date. So I made it by today so that I can put Math League on quarter 1. So that's on quarter 1. However, it's not till Tuesday and you need to go to the MIMS gym. So the auxiliary gym, the men's gym, the small gym, the upstairs gym, whatever you call it in your head. That's where I'm gonna be and that's where you need to be also. Okay, start with these. I'm gonna pass back any homework that I have of yours, and I will try and grade this while we're doing notes today, so I can give it back to you too. Because I think homework questions are probably the most relevant for the quiz that's gonna be on Tuesday. Does anybody have any questions on what you see right now? Okay, I'll leave it up for a minute if you're still looking at it. The most important part of these are the ones below it. The last 2 problems I think are the most important part of 2.2. Andrew.
So for constants, can we write like k equals -2?
Sure. Yeah, you don't just have to write -2 or 7. You can write k equals. Yeah, Sophia.
Wait, so for B, when figuring out the type, is it always gonna be direct if it's not an inverse? Like,
Yes, there's only 2 types, direct and inverse.
yeah.
Remember direct looked like this. It was like y equals k times x.
Yeah.
Even though that's a square root, that's the same thing as 7 times x to the 1/2.
Okay.
So that's why that works. Inverse is y equals k over x.
It's like dividing.
It's dividing. Yep.
Oh.
So if it looks like either one of those, then it's a variation. If it doesn't, like number 3, then it's neither.
Okay.
Yes, good question. All right, can I keep moving from this part? Okay. Let me just walk back here. And then I'll walk back to the questions.
How come you have that exponent x highlighted on this?
Because that's the reason why it didn't work. So the reason it didn't work is because of that exponent of x. All right. Oh no, come back.
Let's get rid of 2 and 3 for proportions.
Can you say that one more time?
We've just used proportions.
Could you just use proportions? Did you get the same answers as me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, if you did, sure. If you get the same answers as me, I'd maybe try a couple of the other ones that we did in the notes to confirm that you're always going to get the same answers as me. If you get the same answers, sure, why not? All right, these word problems are what I think is important. Thank you. These word problems are ones that I will probably put one like this on the quiz on Tuesday. Can I talk about them while we're here, or are we okay with that? Yeah, Billy.
What's the top number on the fractions on the bottom?
The top number is K, and then it becomes 891. Good question. Anything else? Okay. Take a minute. I'll keep it up for a second. If you haven't finished, put your name on it, pass it forward. I'm going to try and grade it, put it in the grade book really quickly, and then I will pass them back before you leave class today. We are in here until 3:15, so we got about 30 more minutes. And I think we finished all of 2-2, but we didn't do any of 2-3, and I really do need to get into that. So pass your homeworks up.
Kind of switch it
Yeah, I saw them all separately. I was having the worst day. Like, it's just not been a great day. And And then Paige and Mary just walk in my class notes. So my day got so much better, and then I was on set during B, and then G walked out. And I was like, my day's so
I was in class, well, I saw the first one I was in class, I just saw all three of them walking around the bubble.
Sounds
In Loretto.
in Loretto.
Yeah.
That seems so typical for all of them.
That's why.
Yes.
Are you saying this shit right away?
Yes,
Okay, I'm gonna try to do it offline,
that's fine.
because I won't be here.
That's fine.
And after fall break, when would you want me to make those quizzes after fall break?
Monday or Tuesday would be ideal.
All right, I can do that.
Yeah. Let's plan for that. But you just keep me updated on how you feel about doing it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys. So we are doing
Yeah.
2, 3. All right, guys, go ahead and get your calculators out. We're gonna start with our calculators. I don't know, I'm probably gonna have to rush through this a little bit so I can get through everything today. Or we might have to skip a couple things in order to hit everything, but we'll be okay. We're gonna start by talking about end behavior, and we're gonna graph on the calculator. So when I'm talking about even degree end behavior and odd degree end behavior, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah.
What does it mean,
Oh,
Max?
wait, you said even not.
Even and odd.
Is that like with the?
We gotta go a little faster than that today, Max. Quinn?
This is the one where it's like. if
Exponent,
it's-
exponent if it's odd or even, exponent.
Exponent is odd or even. Yeah, Quinn, do you wanna add into that?
This one where it's like, if it's even, it like goes through, if it's odd, it bounces off.
Ooh, no, but we're gonna do that in a second. So even and odd exponents. If I have an even exponent, let's just add in positive and negative while we're here. So I'm gonna say even and I'm gonna say odd. And I'm gonna say positive and I'm gonna say negative. Okay. So even positive, can you show me with your hands or your arms, what does even positive look like? Touchdown Jesus, exactly. 2 hands straight up, touchdown Jesus, go Notre Dame. It is straight up and both sides. It started by being up, it's gonna end by being up. So it's up, up. What do you think odd, what do you think even negative is gonna look like? Even negative. Both down, 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 down. If I, normally I'm like standing up and I like throw both hands down like this, but I'm like awkwardly sitting, so I like have them down like this. Down on both sides, down, down. All right, odd. Yep, Max, you got it. Odd is gonna start low and it's gonna end high. So it's gonna start down low, it's gonna end up high. What should negative odd look like? Zoop, flip them. Starting high, ending low. Okay. I care whether the graphs are gonna be positive or negative, and I care if they're even or odd. I care about the arrows, I care about where they're going. The other thing I care about is the zeros, okay? Before I graph this on the calculator, does anyone have a guess on what my zeros here would be?
Yep, right here.
Max,
-3, -1, 2.
how?
X equals.
Would you say, Barry?
X equals.
X equals. We just set them equal to X.
Yeah.
Now, before I graph this on the calculator, can anyone guess if this is gonna be positive or negative? Sophia? Maybe not.
Negative.
I know it's odd, I just wasn't.
Okay, it's
sure.
odd. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take odd. What about positive or negative?
Negative.
Positive.
Why is it positive?
Right?
It just
is.
Invisible one.
Okay. There's an invisible one outside. There's no negative out front.
Yeah.
Sophia, can you tell me why you know it's odd?
Because there's 3 roots that are real.
3 real roots, okay? And all I
Yeah.
care about is the real
And
roots.
if you were to like multiply them all together, it'd be the third.
Very good. If I were to multiply all this together, it'd be like x to the third.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be an odd positive graph, and it's gonna have zeros that go through -3, -1, and 2. So let's get our graphing calculator up and let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna graph x plus 3, x plus 1, and x minus 2. Okay, I'm gonna make it be a standard window, so I'm gonna go Z6 zoom standard. And if I went through and found all my zeros, which I have a fancy calculator, so just kind of trust me on this. I have a 0 at -3, I have a 0 at -1, and I have a 0 at 2. Is that what we said they should be at?
Yeah.
Amazing. So we're gonna go sketch that over here. -3, -1, 2. It just nicely crosses over each time. And we see that it started low and it's gonna end high. So I'm gonna start low and I'm gonna end high. I don't care how low or deep or shallow your little mins and maxes are, it's just a sketch. All I care about, positive, negative, even, odd, what are my zeros? Okay, the next one I have, what are some guesses we have going on here? Ava, what's one thing you guessed?
So the zeros are -3 and 2. Just
Good.
looking at the X's.
Somebody else, oh yeah, Sophia?
It's a double root.
Why?
It does the bounce.
I call it a bounce too, but which one has a double root?
The 2.
The 2, why do you know it has a double
Because
root?
it's squared and there's 2 of the X's.
Good.
Like,
So
yeah.
how many X's do I have here? Is it even or odd? Why?
Because technically, if you multiply those, it would go to x to the third, even though you only have 2 zeros. So it would be odd.
Good. X to the third, and is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Very good. So I'm gonna guess that it's gonna look like that. It's gonna be odd positive. It's gonna have zeros at -3 and it's gonna bounce at 2. So let's go see if that's what it does. X plus 3, X minus 2, and then square that. Am I moving too fast? Are we doing okay?
Why did we say it was positive again?
I said it was positive because there's no negative out front. So I care about literally the very, very front of it. There's nothing there. You're good. You're good. You're good. It was almost disaster and then it wasn't. So.
Yeah, I see it.
And I don't even need to see the whole graph. I know what's gonna happen, but I see that I've got a little bounce at this 2 right there. So that's nice. A bounce at 2, and then I've got another 0 at -3, which is exactly what we guessed. 0 at -3, bounce at 2. So that's what we're gonna do. Ooh. Okay, pretend that bounce is prettier. I'll do prettier bounces later. As long as you don't cross over. Think about the zeros are like the times that you're allowed to cross over. They're like a bridge over the axis. You only are allowed to cross the axis or touch the axis if you have a point there. All right, last one. I've got this cubic thing there. Does anyone know what that does?
It makes it.
What do you say, Ryan?
Then it let the graph go like this.
Kind of, I think so, if I'm reading your
Cubic function.
Pinson's notes. What do you say, Ava?
That's like our cubic function.
Looks like your cubic function. So does that make it even or odd?
It's odd.
Positive or negative?
It's positive.
Good. And then what is my 0?
2.
2. Now, I like to say that when it's raised to a third power, I like to say that it snakes through the axis because I want it to look cubic. I want it to look like our cubic graph. So let's go see what the actual graph shows us. We're going to do x minus 2 raised to the third power. And when I graph it, it really does look like it's a cubic root there. So I'm going to try and make it really exaggerated, make it look like it's a cubic function there. Oh, that's going to be fine. I'm not going to do a simple cross. It's not like I'm just crossing it like it's a line. I'm trying to make it a little sneaky around. Slither through. All right, you guys had a lot of good previous knowledge and we were able to support that with the calculator. Now we're going to graph a bunch of these by hand. You guys ready? Okay, what are the 3 things I care about on all of these? What's one thing I care about? Ava, give me one thing I care about.
You need to know the 0.
I need to know the 0. Someone give me one other thing I care about. Even or odd. And then Billy, give me the last thing I care about. That's my even or odd. What's the last thing? Positive or negative. Sometimes we learn it as like end behavior where those go together, but I think that I write 3 things down, so I count them as 3 separate things. Okay, so let's look at this first one. Let's do zeros first, since that's the first thing I have listed. What counts as a 0? Good. Somebody go ahead, Ava.
-3, 2, and
-1. Anything funny happening at any of these zeros?
Negative 1.
-1.
-1's a bounce. Good. Because I've got a square. All right, that's one thing I care about, my zeros. What about positive or negative? Positive. Good. Even or odd?
Even.
Why?
Because when you multiply all of them, it would be x to the 4th.
1, 2, and this one's being raised to the second, so 3, 4. So that makes it even. Quick, show me what does even look like again with your hands. Positive even. Good. Touchdown Jesus. Throw them up.
I've got -3, I've got -1, and I've got +2. So we're gonna start high and we're gonna end high. I like to draw these little arrows, even if I end up erasing them later, because it at least gives me a guide. So I'm starting up, I go here, I'm gonna bounce at -1. I'm so bad at graphing this. Bounce, and then I'm gonna cross over here and then keep my arrows going. Cool, something like that. Good. All right, move on to the next one. Can you do the next one on your own?
Yes.
Perfect, do that one on your own.
This one's different.
Well, the next one's still in factored form, so I've given you 2 in factored form. So we did one together, do the next one in factored form together, and then we'll do the other 3 all together. Okay, I'm gonna put my zeros up first.
You did send Maggie for this.
Yes, I can. Hi, Maggie. Negative, and it's got 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 1 is 6, so that's even. What does negative even look like? Down, down. Good. Where am I bouncing?
On the 3.
Nope,
For the -2.
the -2. And then what happens at the 3? What's weird at the 3? It's doing like the little cubic snaky thing. So I like trying a little S next to it for a snake. So let's see if I can make it look like that. So I'm gonna bounce it. I'm gonna go over, and then now I'm gonna try and make it look cubic. Wow, I guess I have a really shaky hand. Pretend it looks nicer than it does. You see what that's doing, Max?
Yes.
Okay. Did I hear a little light bulb go off? Okay. Anybody questions on what you see right now? Okay, why is the next one different?
Oh, because in the factory.
We have to factor first, okay? If it's not factorable, I'm gonna teach you other methods, but as of today, we're either gonna be able to factor it or we're gonna put it in the calculator. So how do I factor this guy with the 4 terms?
I group it.
Grouping, good. What does grouping mean to you?
So you take, so what I did is, I took I divided it into 2 sections, so
Good.
x to the third plus 3x squared and then -4x minus 10. So for x to the third plus 3x squared, so the greatest common factor would be x
Mhm.
squared, so.
Okay, so time out. What Ava did is she split it into 2, and then she's gonna take the greatest common factor out of each of them. So you took an x squared out, and then what were you left with?
So then I was left with x plus 3,
Good. And then what's the GCF of the other one?
-4,
Good.
and
And
then x plus 3.
good. Good. Where do I go from here?
Iron zeros.
One more thing before I find my zeros. Good. So first thing before we break it down, I want to put them together. I want to make it x squared minus 4 and then x plus 3. And then now I want to break down that x squared minus 4. And Ella, what does that break down to? Awesome. X plus 2, x minus 2. Now do I know my zeros?
Yes.
What are they?
-2, 2, -3.
Good. Okay. -2, I'm gonna go graph that, -3 and +2. What else do I need to know before I can start graphing my line? Good, even or odd? Good, what is it?
It looks odd
Why is it odd?
because there it would go with probably be x to the third.
Yeah, Ryan, what do you want to add on? Perfect. So Ava said it multiplies to be x to the third. If it's in factored form, you can count how many x's you have. If it's not in factored form, if it's unfactored, just go look at this first term. So sometimes I like when it's not factored because I think it's easier. Just look at that first term. It says x to the 3. We know 3 is odd. It's odd. Is it positive or negative? Positive because there's no negative up front. Same thing if you came over here, it's also positive because there's no negative up front, but sometimes it's easier to look at the original equation. So positive odd, what does positive odd look like? Not double down. Starts low and then ends high. Doot. It's like the 80s, walk like an Egyptian.
I was thinking,
Is that something? What would you say?
I was thinking even negative.
Oh, you were thinking even negative. Positive, odd, do, something like that. All right, cool. Can you factor the next one? How do you start it?
You could take out a GC.
Ooh, good. Take out that GCF. You finish putting your homework in, and then I'll get out in front of the camera. Something like that. This is just an upside down parabola. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I got 9 and 1. Everyone's
Negative.
even negative. Both are going down.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Can you do the last one too on this page?
Yeah.
Awesome. Go for it.
Is that
That's literally next class. No, it's 2.4.
oh, is F the long division thing? That one.
We're gonna do long division 2. What do you say, F?
Oh, not the letter F.
we will have to do that, but I haven't taught you that yet. So we're gonna do that on the calculator.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just a little.
You
Fine.
anxious? You're ready to keep moving?
I'm answering. I got a lot of energy.
Is it quiz?
What is the quiz?
When?
When on Tuesday?
What, yeah.
Give me 1 second. Let me finish going over these graphs. Okay, so how did I factor this one down to be?
X plus 6, x minus 6.
Good. Bear took me all the way down. We had a difference of squares. What are my zeros?
0.
Positive, negative, even, odd. Odd. Zoop, zoop, zoop. Pretend that went through all those little guys. Okay. Cool. All right, now's a decent time to stop and talk for the quiz. We're gonna do F and G on the calculator, but that's the last thing we're gonna do. And if we don't have time, we'll do that next class. So we'll do F and G on the calculator. As Sophia was kind of asking, there's more skills that I wanna review / teach you before we do this by hand. On the quiz, and I'm gonna keep teaching, I still have 10 more minutes, but just a little team timeout. On the quiz, definitely graphing these by hand. Sketching without a calculator, graphing these polynomials by hand, you definitely need to know how to do that. Okay, the word problems from 2.2, you need to know how to do those. That's all I'm gonna do from 2.2. We did a lot of weird book problems. All I care about are those word problems at the end. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So we're not gonna have the thing that's like Like, are we gonna have to do the like inverse and the direct variation stuff on the quiz?
Well, the word problems are inverse and direct variation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but nothing else. So there's other things that we did with that. I think the word problems are most important.
So what like lesson numbers are?
2-1 through 2-3.
Yeah, and are all those on?
Yes,
What did we do in 2-1?
that's what I'm about to talk about. So there's a ton that we did in 2-1. I'm not gonna ask you about all the word problems, but the word problems you do need to know are 58 and 59. And there is one of those on your homework. So I mimicked the one that was on your homework. Those are the ones that I care about. So make sure you know how to do ones like 58 and 59. Now the rest of it, I'll point out the important topics. I can't tell you I'm gonna give you a problem like each one. Remember, I try and keep your quiz a front sider. So I may talk about something that won't be on there, but like number 6, writing an equation of the quadratic function given, that could be on the quiz. Finding vertex, axis of symmetry, direction, both by completing the square and by using the axis of symmetry function or formula. Those are fair game. Look at tickle in my throat now. And then identifying the vertex axis of symmetry, if it is in vertex form, is fair game, as is writing as a linear equation. So I'm not necessarily going to say, is this polynomial a power function or is it a polynomial function? But most of the rest of this, and not all of the word problems, but definitely know how to do 58 and 59 for the quiz.
Wait,
Okay.
did you say number 4?
Number 4, yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm going to have you complete the square or not, but be prepared to.
Okay.
It'll be a nice surprise if you don't, but it will be a really not fun surprise if you don't prepare and it's on there. Very fair. Very fair. Okay, let's keep going back to, let me finish as much of 2-3 as possible. I am not gonna put these last couple questions on here, but I do wanna do these. And if we have time, then I'll go back and do F and G. So I'm coming down to number 3 and 4. And number 3 says, write an equation of a cubic function with √3, -√3, and 6 as zeros. Okay, if I just say write an equation and these are my zeros, we're just gonna write this as its factored form. So I'm gonna write like a polynomial equation, and those are my factors. How would I write √3 as a 0?
Wait.
Let me go back. How do I do 6? How do I show 6 as a root? Is a 0. X minus 6. Okay. How do I do √3 then? X minus √3. Good. Okay. And then what about -√3?
X plus √3.
X plus √3. Okay, it says multiply out. We will definitely do that next class. We're not going to do that right now. We can multiply that out. It gets a little bit messy, and my skill for today is not algebra. It's the writing the equation. All right, number 4, similarly. This one, I know it looks confusing. It says this is a 3. That's a -4, and then 1 with multiplicity of 3. This one says don't multiply out. Write an equation of the polynomial function with 3, -4, 1 with multiplicity 3 as zeros. Okay. What's one of my factored like parentheses? X minus 1. Okay, it does say multiplicity of 3. What does that mean? I don't think so. What is multiplicity?
3 outside the parentheses.
3 outside the parentheses as how? As a exponent, as an exponent. So the multiplicity of 3 means that it's that factor raised to the 3rd power, or to the 2nd power, or to the 7th, or whatever number I decide to give you. All right, what about the -4? Does it have a multiplicity or an exponent? No, it's just gonna be x plus or minus? Plus, good. And then what's my last factor? What's my last 0? X minus 3, good. I said this one don't multiply out because if we had to multiply it out, we'd have to do x minus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 1, and then I'd have to take all of that and multiply that by x minus 4, and then multiply that by x minus 3. And that would be an exponent of 5, and that just feels like a lot of work for no reason. So we don't have to multiply that one out. Okay, good thing our last couple of problems are all calculator problems, because this one says use calc regression to write the quartic polynomial containing these points. So go get your calculator out. If you put it away, get him back out. We're going to do quartic regression. We've done quadratic regression before.
Does anyone remember how we did the regressions in the calculator?
So it's stat,
Ooh, it's stat. Yes, Barrett remembers a little bit.
count,
Stat. And let's stat edit first. Good job, Billy. Stat edit, because we need the numbers to look like what we have. So I already have mine filled in from Alpha this morning, but I want all of your X's to go in your L1, and I want all of your Y's to go in your L2. And I want them to match up. So like it should look like ordered pairs. 3 and -7's next to it. 4, -4. Stat edit. Stat edit. All of those numbers in. Okay. Anybody questions yet? Okay, once I stat edit all of those values in, I can second quit out of there. Oh, now you don't want to work? Okay. Calculator does this all the time. I was telling Alpha this morning that I was really talking up this calculator and now it's just not working all right. Okay, second mode, quit out of there. And then does anyone remember how I get to the regressions?
stat, count, quart reg.
Good, stat, count. And then Barrett said quart reg. Why'd you say quart reg, not quad or lin or cubic?
So I said,
Because it literally told us to do quartic. So since the directions say quartic, we're gonna do quartic. Press enter. If you get something that looks like this, just press enter, enter, enter. We've set it up in a way that the calculator should do it right. If you have nothing, just press enter, it'll spit it out. Yeah, Quinn's question. Your calculator's messed up. So I got these numbers when I entered it.
This way. I want to stat. Yeah, but I don't know what it is. What do you get to?
It doesn't matter, but then remember when I said, just press enter, enter, enter. You're gonna have to make sure your X says L2 and your
so the
Y
fill in, the A that's -2 points. So get all of them.
It doesn't really matter. Put them
The
in
same
and out.
numbers.
Do you guys get the numbers that I got? No. No? Oh, God.
Yes.
Wait, how do you get rid of the 0, 0?
Yeah.
What do you mean 0, 0?
Like I have a 0, 0 and I can't get rid of
Did
it.
you press delete?
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
That'll get you.
So what do I do from here?
And then just
Go back, second mode. Stat. Oh, scroll over to calc, and then go down to quart reg. Good. Blah, 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 blah. Enter, enter, enter. Now you're getting what I got.
Mine are real close, but not exact.
Let's see. Yeah.
Let me go handle
Sure.
8. I think that's a 3, not a 5.
Must be.
It must be. All right, so I'm gonna write down that as my answer
All right, Cathedral,
during the
it is
prayer.
Friday and time for prayer. A quick reminder, we have a major influx of people for getting their lanyards. Please take it off, put it in your backpack so it's ready to go for Monday. Now, as we come to the end of the day, let us pause for prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, and
Sit
Holy
down,
Spirit.
guys. You know how we do it.
Hail
Sit
Mary,
down.
full of grace,
The Lord is with thee. Blessed
Blessed
art
thou
thou,
among women,
and blessed
and
is the
blessed
fruit
is
of
the
thy
fruit of thy
womb.
womb, Jesus.
Holy
Holy
Mary,
Mary,
Mother of
Mother of
God,
God,
pray for
pray
us
for us
sinners,
sinners,
now and
now
at the hour
and
of our
at the hour
death.
of our
Amen.
death. In the name of the Father.
All
Son,
right, now have a great
Holy
weekend.
Spirit.
There's my equation. We'll finish F and you too. Bye, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll do F and G tomorrow in class.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
It
Yeah.
is 2.1 on YouTube.
2.1 is on YouTube.
I'm sorry about missing.
It's okay.